So, in one of my videos, I spoke about a particular stylist who used to be the stylist for the other girl, and she left the other girl's employ and she made her Instagram public. And she deliberately, in my opinion, I feel she deliberately revealed a number of things that she couldn't say out loud, but she kind of said it through the revelations that her following, the people she was following, revealed. But anyway, I also want to bring what her, I believe some people say former partner, he also did something last week, and more importantly, it's not what he did, it's what he said. He said something quietly significant that the British press, as usual, they chose not to amplify it. So this royal photographer, Chris Jackson, I believe he takes really nice images. And there's a lot more I can say about that, but he does take nice images of maybe particular people, and especially when his wife used to be stylist to a particular person, he would take lovely photos of that person that had really no bearing in the reality of maybe what the person looked like. Again, saying the quiet part out loud. But Chris Jackson is Getty Images official royal photographer, and he has spent years inside the royal media ecosystem documenting the family at close range. He has traveled with them, he's photographed their engagements, and he's captured their private moments and spent enough time in their company to form what I feel is maybe a genuine professional assessment of what they are like to work with. So yeah, I would give that to him. Unlike someone who boasts that he's met the Queen 40 times, I would believe Chris Jackson's account maybe over that one's. But anyway, Chris Jackson was at a book signing in New York, and he was in a book signing last week, and he was promoting his own new publication, and the publication is by Rizzoli. And it's called Modern Majesty, and it's focusing on the current working members of the royal family. And he spoke to Page 6 about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Now, I know he's decided to focus on the current working members of the royal family, but I feel that deep down inside, he would be thinking he's possibly missing some revenue from the Sussex supporters, because I wish him good luck with his new book. I believe that in the past, maybe 30, 40 years ago, people would have literally ran to get his book. But not sure about that nowadays. But anyway, good luck to him. So anyway, Page 6 asked him about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan, and he said he always had a great experience photographing them both. He said that they have a great dynamic. He described Harry's trips to Lesotho and Bali and the Invictus Games, which he called an incredible achievement. He said that the behind-the-scenes work was fantastic, and he enjoyed the trips he went on with the couple. Now, in my opinion, there are so many things to uncover from that. But it sounds to me like a glowing report. It sounds to me like, even from a professional photographer's perspective, the fact that he used the word dynamic, fantastic, because when a photographer is taking a photo, it's about your personality as much as it is about the aesthetic. Because even when you watch some of these American Great Next Top Model shows or whatever, you can tell when a model is giving you nothing, go girl, give us nothing. And you can tell when the model brings a personality to the shoot. And I believe that, like he said, there's a dynamic between Harry and Meghan that cannot be replicated. I believe the essence of them, who they are as people, whether they're nice, whether they're, they are kind, they are charismatic, etc. All that it shows in a photograph. And that is why you see the other girl in particular trying to replicate similar poses, wearing outfits that Meghan has worn, trying to claim some of that charisma and essence. I know her recent outing, she was trying to cosplay, and this is what people are saying, not me. She was trying to cosplay a certain first lady of America, a certain FLOTUS, as they would say. And it's fascinating watching that happen. So when all you do is cosplay, unfortunately, your own personality is not allowed to shine through. And I believe sometimes that's some of the problems with her images. But then let me get back. The most important thing I want to bring out of what this Chris Jackson situation, about what he said to Page 6, is that he is a named source. He is a professional with direct documented experience. He is a person whose career has been spent inside the royal media operation itself. So he has not been paid and he has no commercial incentive to speak warmly about Harry and Meghan. Right? So this is these two people who the press has spent years briefing against, and Chris Jackson could have said, you know what, let me join the bandwagon, but he decided to speak the truth. He said, great experience, great dynamic, incredible achievement, fantastic. Those are the adjectives that he used. But if you compare what he said with the unnamed sources, anonymous insiders, well-placed industry figures, royal experts, yada, 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 the brief from those people describes something polar opposite to what Chris Jackson described. So I believe that his book does not have Harry and Meghan in it, obviously because they're no longer senior working royals. And that is an editorial decision that I feel is defensible. It's their choice, because after all, this is about modern royalty. But I think the title of the book is ironic, considering that the ones that people consider to be modern royals are actually Harry and Meghan. And that's why it's making me laugh, because I'm betting Chris Jackson is thinking, some of my bloody best work is about Harry and Meghan, and yet I'm not allowed to include it. And it's kind of like the way I feel about the book I'm writing right now, because there's only so much I can put in a book. Already the word count is enormous. And I'm thinking, I was having a discussion the other day with someone, and I was saying, should I keep to a certain word count or should I put everything in it? And that is the balance you have to make, because if you put everything in a book, then people get fed up halfway. But if it's a reasonable length, then people are more likely to read it. So again, with Chris Jackson, I'm kind of thinking, he's thinking, oh my God, I have to leave out my best photos. But then on the other hand, we are where we are, and good luck to him. So I just want to say thank you, Chris Jackson, for telling the truth. And yeah, I just love the fact that this man who was with them behind the scenes, who documented the Invictus Games and who traveled with Harry and Meghan around the world, he said, great dynamic. And the receipts, as always, are in the named sources. But anyway, let me know what you think. My name's Elizabeth. I'm the author of The Luxpreneur. And for more insights like these, please like, share, comment, and follow me. And to support my work in holding truth to power, please buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Elizabeth Solaru, or you can get a copy of my book, The Luxpreneur, from Amazon, Waterstones, or Barnes and Noble. Yes, the book fell.
All right, let's talk about credibility. Not vibes, not headlines, not sources say. Actual, verifiable names. This week, we've got Chris Jackson and Squaddies. This isn't just any photographer. This is the photographer, Getty Images' official royal photographer. A man who has spent years inside the royal ecosystem, travelling with them, shooting them, observing them, up close, behind the scenes, in moments the public never sees. This is someone who doesn't guess. He knows. Now, he's in New York City promoting his new book, Modern Majesty, published by Rizzoli. And during an interview with Page 6, he's asked about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Now, pause, because this is where the narrative was supposed to go one way. And instead, it went completely the other. He says he's always had a great experience photographing them. They have a great dynamic. He speaks about Harry's work in Lesotho, mentions trips to Bali, and highlights the Invictus Games as an incredible achievement. He even describes the behind-the-scenes work as fantastic. Let's just sit with that for a second, because those aren't vague compliments. Those are specific, experience-based assessments from someone who was actually there. Now, let's compare that to the noise we've been hearing all week. You know the lines? They're exhausting, they're difficult, they're toxic, they're finished. And where do those claims come from? Anonymous insiders, unnamed sources, people familiar with the situation. Industry figures, no names, no accountability, no receipts. So let's break this down cleanly. Squaddies, on one side, you have Chris Jackson, a named professional with years of direct access, speaking on the record. On the other side, you have shadows, statements without faces, opinions without ownership, narratives without evidence, and here's the part they don't emphasize enough. Jackson's book doesn't include Harry and Meghan. Why? Because they're no longer working royals. That's a normal editorial decision. But his comments? Those weren't required, they weren't promotional, they weren't necessary, they were voluntary, and they were positive. So ask yourself, if the dominant narrative is that everyone who has worked with Harry and Meghan had a terrible experience, then why does someone who worked with them extensively say the exact opposite? Not vaguely, not carefully, but clearly. And let's not forget, this is the man who documented their tours, their engagements, the early days of the Invictus Games coverage, the behind-the-scenes moments that never make headlines. If there was dysfunction, if there was chaos, if there was toxicity, he would have seen it. And yet, great dynamic. So, what's really going on? Because this isn't just about one interview, it's about how narratives are built. Week after week, we're told they're difficult. They're done. No one wants to work with them. But when someone with a name, a reputation, and a documented history speaks, the story doesn't match. Final thought, Squaddies. In a world full of sources say, pay attention to who is willing to put their name on it, because anonymous narratives can be manufactured. But named experiences? Those are a lot harder to dismiss. And this week, the name spoke louder than the noise. End of segment.